to save fuel. Fuel keeps getting more expensive, although every once in a while it comes down and I'm like, yes. We want to save some fuel. So we have 4 different car choices. 4 different car choices. We want to see if we should replace our compact car, which a compact car usually gets pretty good gas mileage. That gets 34 miles per gallon. That's pretty good. That's not bad. But should we replace that with a hybrid that gets 54 miles per gallon? So definitely the hybrid would be better. Or should we replace our sport utility vehicle, our SUV, that gets 18 miles per gallon with a sedan that gets 28 miles per gallon? So we need to replace only one of those 2 things, all right? Or would they both save exactly the same amount of fuel? Okay? So we've been talking about equivalent conversions, all right? For those that were not here, equivalent conversions. And that is where you would put one on top of the other, like in fraction form, okay? So replacing a compact car that gets 34 miles per gallon. If I were to write that as a fraction, I would say something like 34 miles per, and that would be my division bar, 1 gallon. Okay? These are equivalent. So this is an equivalent conversion. I could also switch it up and put the 1 gallon on the top. So I could say for 1 gallon of gasoline, my compact car should be able to go 34 miles. Now, it's important to know that you can switch the 2 of these, because if you need to multiply by some other amount, you want to make sure you are canceling out the same words, okay? All right. So, before you really start to get into how to do this, you might be saying to yourself, how am I going to start this out? Okay? And it says, as a clue at the bottom, if you're stuck on how to begin, figure out how many gallons it takes for each to go 100 miles. So, how many cars do we have that we're talking about here? How many cars total? We have 4. Okay? We have a compact car, 34 miles per gallon. We have a hybrid car that gets 54 miles per gallon. And we're seeing, is it going to be better to replace the compact car with the hybrid, or is it better to replace that SUV with the sedan? The SUV gets 18 miles per gallon and the sedan gets 28. Okay?
Sedan, car, hybrid, that's so forth.
And the SUV. Yeah. And it should be right there, I think, on in your book. So, is one going to be better than the other? Should I replace the compact car with the hybrid, or is it better to replace the SUV with the sedan? Or do they both save the same exact amount of fuel? All right. So, to get started, see if you and a partner, yes, you're working with a partner. I'm not giving you a partner. Talk it out, figure out how many gallons it takes for each of those cars to go 100 miles. And then how could you figure out which one saves the most gas? Okay? So talk with a partner, talk with someone around you. I'm going to let you do that for 10 minutes before we come together back as a class. Which one is going to save you the most gas? If I go with the hybrid over the compact car, or if I go with the sedan over the SUV, or do they save the same exact amount of fuel? Yes.
Okay, the thing you said to go 100 miles,
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yes. And start with that. If you had to take each vehicle 100 miles, how many gallons of gas would it require based on the number of miles per gallon that they use? Okay? So work with a partner. Talk about it. Okay? Don't go it alone, but talk out loud and talk with the people next to you for 10 minutes. While you're doing that, I'm going to check in with people on their projects and see how those are coming along. Okay, we said that we have 4 different cars with all different kinds of gas mileage. We are trying to see, okay, turn around. We are trying to see which one is going to be better to switch out. If we should switch out the hybrid for the compact car, or should we switch out our sedan in place of the SUV? Okay. It says, if you're stuck on how to start, figure out how many gallons it takes for each vehicle to go 100 miles. So let's talk about our compact car first. Small little car. We need to figure out how many gallons it's going to take to go 100 miles. This compact car gets 34 miles per gallon. So if I need to go 100 miles, how many gallons do I need to go 100 miles? And how did you get that? Yeah, now think about this. This car can go 34 miles on 1 gallon. And I mean, draw a picture somewhat if you're not sure, okay? So let's say from here to here, there's 100 miles, okay? 100 miles. 50 would be right in the middle. We get 34. 34 is really close to about a third, which is 33. So here's 33. Here's 50. This 100 is supposed to be going all the way to the end here. Okay. And we want to go 100 miles. So there's 33. 33 more would be about here, and then 33 more would be really close to the end. So that's maybe almost 3 gallons, right? But if we actually divide it and take 100 divided by our 34 miles per gallon, you are going to get, what'd you say, 2.98? 2.98 gallons of gasoline.
Where'd she get 2.98?
100. Oh, 2.94?
Yeah.
But it's pretty close. 2.94 gallons of gasoline. Okay? That's for the compact car. What about the hybrid? Somebody else. How would I figure out how many gallons of gasoline I would need for the hybrid? Is that a hand up?
50.
Gabe, let's get your head up, please. Wouldn't we do the same thing?
No.
In a similar way? So we would take 100 miles and we can go 54 miles per gallon. Miles per gallon. So that means when I divide, what do we get?
1.85.
1.85 gallons of gas. So if we're only going 100 miles, we want to use the least amount of gas that we can, right? How much more do we save? How would I figure that? Subtract. Yes. So this uses 2.94. This uses 1.85. Take 2.94, and you might want to write this down, minus 1.85, And how much better is it to use the hybrid? 1.09 gallons of gas. That's how much we saved in using the hybrid over our compact car. Okay? Hey, that's not bad. That's a whole gallon of gas, right? I mean, pretty good. So let's take a look at our SUV. SUV. So in 100 miles, if we divide that by 18 miles per gallon, that is a big gas guzzler. 18 miles per gallon. How many gallons are we going to need to go those 18 miles? Or 100 miles? 5.6 gallons of gas.
Yeah, it was like 5.5555 so.
Okay, well, let's go with 5.5 or 5.55 for now.
No rounding up?
Well, we didn't did we for the other ones? No, we didn't. So we'll keep it there. 5.55. We even took it to. And for the sedan, going 100 miles, and we get 28 miles per gallon. So the miles will cancel out. The gallons is left. 100 divided by 28 gives 3.57 gallons of gas. So how much better is the sedan than the SUV? You would subtract 5.55 minus 3.57, and you would get 1.98. 1.98 gallons of gas. Now, how is it we can compare all of these at the same time? Because they all were looked at using and driving how far? 100 miles. So they're all being compared in the same way. So is it better to save 1.98 gallons of gas or 1.09 gallons of gas? One or two?
Wait, what?
1.09, 1.98? Which one gives you and saves you the most gas? One or two? So here you saved 1.09 gallons. Here you saved 1.98. That's close to 2, right? So you saved more by taking out the SUV and going with the sedan. Okay? So this would be number 2, swapping out the sedan.
Where do you break that in? Explain your reasoning?
Well, you've got the whole page there below too. I mean, you can put it wherever you want. These are your notes. But, Sean, we would use the sedan over the SUV in saving the most amount. Okay? We are not getting an equal amount of gas that we are saving. So pick the one with the sedan over the SUV. Okay? All right. Any questions about that? Okay. Now, this goes back to saying, okay, you can work on 3.2, but we're not ready for 3.2. So you can still work on the first homework, which is 3.1, which has to do with heart rate. Just make sure you are setting up your equivalent conversions so that if you're talking about heart rate, beats would cancel out with beats. All right? Now, go to the last page of your workbook. The last page of your workbook. So this is kind of I'll say a lost art, although it's not really art. But how many of you would say you're really good at measuring things? Very last page. It should be a blank page. Don't go to 122. I think it would be 115. 114 is a blank page?
No, 115.
Okay, go to 115, the very last page. Go to the blank last page. Okay, let's make sure our phones are put away, please. All right, so on this last page, I think we had hoped this would be in there. Yes, I need you to draw this picture of 1 inch on your last page. Okay? So when you are drawing it, there are 16 spaces from 0 to 1. 16 spaces that are spaced out equally. Okay? So I need you to draw this ruler. Gabe, turn the phone over. Thank you. And you need to draw 16 spaces. Also notice not all of these marks are the same length. So try to draw them in appropriate lengths with how they are up here. Okay? Then I want you, if you need to use a ruler, you can. You don't have to. We are going to, when I say we, I want you to try to label all of these marks in between 0 and 1 inch. Okay? So I'll help you get started with the first one. So if there are 16 spaces and we have something that we measure that goes from here to this first space right here, what would I say is this fractional amount 1/16? So this is 1 over 16. Now I also want you to notice that every other mark has that same length. Okay? So this one has that length. This one has that same length down. This one has that same length. So I want you to mark all of those as so many 16ths. Okay? And then if we had something that went to this spot, which is the green arrow. Okay? Now, yes, it could be 2/16. It could be 2/16, but 2/16 reduces to 1/8. So then I want you to notice that all of these that have that same length are going to be 8ths. But I want you to mark and label each one, and you don't have to mark them with all of them, but what would be the simplified fraction for each one of those marks on a ruler?
These are so small.
It's not too small. I mean, if you want to make it bigger, you can. So I want you to draw this picture of the ruler, and I want you to write in all of the different marks. Let's put that away. Let's put the computer away, phone away, please. Could I help you draw a bigger one? No, but you can. You did just fine there. Just make it a little bigger, a little wider.
Like this?
Mm-hmm. So let's see. 1/16, 1/8. What does this say?
1/16.
But that's not 1. It would be 1, 2, 3. So that's 3/16.
Oh, so that's how you do it?
Mm-hmm.
So then this will be 2/8.
That would be 2/8, but 2/8 simplifies to
1/4.
1/4.
Okay,
Yeah.
so just...
Let's put the phone away. Nope. Turn it off. Turn it over.
Yeah, big.
This really is a lost art. Okay? It's kind of like reading a analog clock, the one over the door. Everybody's like, oh, I need digital. Okay? So, This is 1/16. This is 2/16, which simplifies to this. This mark has the same length as this. So this is also a 16th, but it is 1, 2, 3/16. So put down 3/16. And the next one over would be 4/16, but that simplifies to
2/8.
which also simplifies to 1/4.
1/4.
Okay? So you don't have to write all of those. I want you to write the most simplified one. But if you want to write them all, because it is 4/16, it is also that. It is also that. But if I were to ask you, what is this distance? I would want you to say 1/4. Okay? So keep going and marking all of those. Yeah. 1, 3. Okay, now this one right here. So that's 1, 2, 3. This would be 4/16 because each one is a 16th, right? And 4/16 though simplifies to what? What's the simplest form of 4/16? Divide by 4/4 and get 1/4. You're like, I had to do that in my head. Right? 4/16 would simplify to 1/4. Okay. So then the next one, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4/16. That would be 5/16 because you're going over. And this would be 6, but 6/16 simplifies to be 3/8. Okay. All right. So are you a helpful carpenter type person, or should I go get Carpenter Bob? All right, so let's take a look at these to see how you did. Okay? Because you are going to have to measure. You are going to have to be doing some measuring here. All right, so we said the first one is 1/16. The rest of them that are also that same length are also 16ths, okay? And they can be put as 16ths in simplest form. So if I count over, there's 1/16, 2. The next one would be 3/16, and I want to do that in blue. 4/16 can simplify. The next one would be 5/16, 7/16, 9/16, 11/16, 13/16, and 15/16. Okay? All right, so then if you count every 2/16, okay, you could say, yes, that's 2/16, but those are actually all going to be in eighths. So all of those that have that same length, we have 1/8. Here would be 2/8, but that can simplify to a 4th, so I skip that one for now. And this would be 3/8. 4/8 would be halfway. Then we have 5/8, 6/8, 7/8. Okay. And finally, well, maybe not finally, we get to this measurement right here. It would be 4/16, but that simplifies to 2/8, which simplifies to 1/4. So everything that has that length is a 4th. So this is 1/4. 2/4 would be right in the middle, which is 1/2, and 3/4 is going to be right there. And lastly, we have, I guess I can do that in a different color. Where's purple? This one, which is purple, which is 8/16, 4/8, 2/4, or in this case, 1/2. Okay? So if you work in carpentry or in construction, you need to be very accurate because you do not want to waste materials. Does anybody in here work in HVAC, carpentry? Do you know a lot about measuring? A little? They don't do a lot? Not yet? 6'7", 6'7"? Did she really say that? Okay. Any questions about how to read in standard form? How all these little marks, what they mean? Hang on. So make sure you are working on homework number 1. This should be done by, I would say, Thursday. So set yourself a goal. Make sure you try to get that done by Thursday. Okay? All right.